Juiced up. Can't wait. Welcome to a special travel edition of Phlearn. Today, I'm going to show you how to create a composite photo on Photoshop for the iPad. Hey there, and welcome to Phlearn. My name is Aaron Nace. You can find me on phlearn.com, where we make learning fun. And I'm so excited to bring you this exclusive tutorial on Photoshop for the iPad. I'm actually sitting in my hotel room in LA. I'm about to give a presentation for Adobe MAX on Photoshop for the iPad. They're about to release it, and I'm like, ooh, I want to make a video ready for you as soon as they launch. So today we're going to give you a brief tour of the program, and we're actually going to do a composite photo, for real, a real composite photo on this iPad. We got a great tutorial. Let's jump into Photoshop. So the first thing we're going to do is go to Import and Open. Down here on the bottom, I'm going to go to my files. Now, the super cool thing about the new operating system for the iPad is that you can actually bring in files like PDFs and PSDs and TIFFs and JPEGs. So if you have PSDs that maybe you're starting working on at home, you can have them on your iPad and continue to work on them. Super cool. In this case, we're just starting with JPEGs. So let's go ahead and open up a couple stock images here. These are just Adobe stock images. Here's our background, and we're doing a double exposure, so I need to bring in my second image. We're going to click on our image icon right below our text, go back to our files, and then click on our next Adobe stock image. Now, I can go ahead and use my controls here at the very top. I'm going to flip that horizontally. Boop. There we go. Let's go ahead and scale this down a little bit and hit done. Now, we're just going to give you a quick tour of all the tools in your sidebar. So we've got our move tool. Here we've got our transform tool where we can warp and scale and do all kinds of other things. We've got, let's go to cancel there. We've got a few tools nested here. So we've got our lasso, quick selection, rectangular, and elliptical marquee. We've got our brush tool. And of course, you've got awesome brushes loaded in Photoshop. Now I'm just using my finger for this tutorial, but if you have an Apple Pencil or another stylus, you can use pressure sensitivity. So we've got our eraser tool, there we go, and of course you can choose brushes for that. You've got the paint bucket and the gradient nested with each other. We've got a spot healing brush tool and a clone stamp. Of course we can crop to our desired size super easily. We've got text, and we can import other images, which you just saw then. Of course you can sample colors. You've got a little color picker here, which is a nice little swipe, changes between foreground and background colors. Here on the top right, you've got undo, redo, upload everything to the cloud, which just does automatically. Fantastic. You've got export options. And then you've got access to your layers. Check it out. We've got a quick view of our layers here, little compact. We've got a larger view of our layers where we can turn our layers off and on. You can create adjustment layers and regular layers by clicking on this little plus icon. There we go. Let's just go to a new layer. Boop. We've got layer properties. Let's go ahead and click here and go to our layer properties. You can do things like change your opacity and your blend mode. We've got other features coming soon. Super fun. Now, let's say I want to take this layer at the very top and delete that. Let's go ahead and get the layer properties away. I can click on this little dot right down here, and I've got a lot more options for my layer, like deleting layers, renaming them, and of course I can put things into group and add masks on groups too. Super cool. So let's go ahead and delete that layer. We don't need it. We can add new layers, adjustment layers, and groups. You can turn layers off and on with your little eyeball. Of course, we have masks, clipping masks, which thank you so much for including clipping masks in this because it makes it so much better. And we even have a few filters and adjustments like the Gaussian blur and the invert. So let's get started with our composite. We're doing a double exposure. So the first thing I want to do is take my layer here, take my layer 0, my background layer, and put it over top. So we're going to click and just boop, right over top. Now I'm going to change the blending mode. So we're going to go into our properties window, and we're going to change the blend mode from normal to screen. Now what this is going to do is it's going to make the light areas visible and the dark areas invisible on this layer. So because the dark areas are invisible on this layer, it's basically letting us show through to that background layer. All right, so let's go ahead and click on our background layer. We're going to bring our opacity back up. Looking really good so far. We're going to add a layer mask with our layer mask button, of course. Okay, let's go ahead and get all these panels away just so I can have a little bit of clean workspace. I'm going to use my move tool to just transform this. There we go, and figure out about where we want it. That's really cool, right about there. Fantastic. Let's hit done, and then just gonna make sure my layer mask is actually selected. So you can do this here by just a quick swipe back and forth to make sure it's either your layer or your layer mask. So I'm on my mask now. I'm gonna grab my brush tool. We're just gonna use a soft round brush, paint with black. You can pull this little thing out, which is really nice. This is where you can adjust your brush size. You get a heads-up display, which is fantastic. You've got opacity, hardness, and softness. And if you click down here, you can even change things like roundness, angle, flow, smoothing. Really, really nice. We're just going to choose a medium flow here. There we are. And now I'm just painting black on my layer mask. Check this out. Oh, way too hard of a brush, so we're just going to click and bring that down. There we go. Now we have a soft edge brush. And look at this. This is with my finger. You get a lot more control with the stylus. You can use brush pressure for things like size as well. But I'm just using my finger. Let's go ahead and lower the flow down. There we go. This is nuts to me, the fact that I'm just like, oh yeah, dude, very nice Photoshop double exposure composite with our finger. What? There we go. Like, oh my God, that's done. Let's go ahead and bring everything back there. And we've successfully created a double exposure image in Photoshop on the iPad in just a couple of minutes. I don't know about you, but this is super exciting for me. Obviously, it's a different experience on the iPad than it is on a desktop computer, but the fact that we have real editing capabilities on the iPad in general, and probably going to be moving on to our phone relatively soon, knowing how things are going, that just means that we can edit more in the field. So during downtime, like when we're in travel, you know, on an airplane, on a train, just like hanging out in the backseat, our friends driving, or just like sitting in bed at night, kind of like doodling around, we can actually create final images like this on the go. And for me, that means I have to carry less gear with me. This iPad is way lighter and less bulky than a computer. And the fact that this supports pressure sensitivity with using something like an Apple Pencil means that I don't have to carry a Wacom tablet with me. So literally just this, and I've got the capability that I used to have with a ton of gear. On the go, quick and easy. So let me know, is this exciting for you? Like, what are your impressions of Photoshop for the iPad? Are you like, oh my God, this totally changes my world? Or you're like, I think I'm gonna stick with the desktop for now. I think this is super exciting, but what do you think? Let me know in a comment down below. Are you excited about Photoshop for the iPad? Is this something you're actually gonna bring into your workflow? And if it is, well, guess what? We're gonna be making tutorials just for you. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this tutorial, go ahead and click on your screen to subscribe to Phlearn. We'll send you free tutorials every single week. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on Photoshop for the iPad. I'll Phlearn you later. Bye, everyone.